Greetings fellow guitar travellers, it's Ryan J. Parker here with another episode of Rock Guitar Fundamentals, which is all about the craft of learning to play the guitar. Now this episode has been created in response to some questions I've been asked on YouTube about picking technique and how to develop it. Now I have done a couple of episodes on this, how to develop speed and so on, but I've not really addressed the most common issue, which is cross-picking. And so what I'm going to present in this short episode is some exercises for developing cross-picking and to try and squash all those pesky alternate picking problems you may be having. Alright, so before we get into the lesson, I'd like to encourage you to check out my website, which is www.roundjparker.com. There's a whole ton of material on that site. There's a ton of backing tracks you can download. It's all free, by the way. There's backing tracks and there's lots of free lessons. There is a shop where you can buy things, and we have books and videos and high quality HD lessons, all available for instant download, so check it out. You can also subscribe to my website merely by putting your email address into the subscribe box and hitting subscribe. And if you do that, you'll get access to an exclusive members only area of the website where I'm hosting a whole bunch of cool stuff, and you'll be able to get the tablature for most of my YouTube lessons there as well. So let's get straight down to today's lesson, Rock Guitar Fundamentals, Developing Alternate Picking. Okay, I'm going to present to you a series of short little picking exercises, and each one of these exercises is designed to deal with the particular alternate picking bugbear that I've come across many times in teaching and also in my own playing when I was developing it. So here is the first little exercise, very common. Which is D, 4, 5, 7, G4, then back to D7, D5, and it's a 6-note circular figure. And of course with the right hand we're going to alternate pick. And so I think at this point it's worth discussing the string crossing that we're going to encounter. Fundamentally there's two ways your plectrum can cross over the string. You can either cross over on the outside of the string like this, in which case I would call this an outside cross pick, or it can cross over in the inside of the string, in which case be an inside cross pick. Now this lick, because of has an even number of notes, it's always going to cross on the outside. So we can use this little lick, this one, to strengthen our upstroke as we go to the adjacent string. So just to be totally clear about the picking, down, up, down, then up on the G on the adjacent, then back to down on the D. Now if you're just trying to get into alternate picking, what you'll find is you'll want to go down again on the G. You want to go down, up, down, down, and then you'll probably want to go down again as you go back, or up possibly. The problem with that is you're never going to get it very fluid or very fast, because it's impossible to reach quick tempos if you're doing consecutive ups or consecutive downs. So if you try this and you notice right away you've got a problem with it, you need to slow it right down, very slow, and concentrate exactly on alternating the plectrum strokes to make sure they are in fact going in opposite directions all the time. Otherwise you're just kidding yourself on, to be honest. So there's that first exercise. Now just as by way of a demonstration, I'll stick a little drum machine on and we'll demonstrate it at 120 beats a minute, just at 8ths and then 16ths, and then we'll try and play some 16th note triplets just to give you an idea. Alright, so let's have a listen to that. Right, so there's more or less there. So one other thing to say about trying to get the lick up to a quick tempo once you've got the alternation motion down and you're cross picking correctly, is you must ensure absolute synchronization of the two hands, because I see a lot of people trying to alternate pick quickly and it just sounds like this. There's no synchronization between the two hands, and if you're doing that, well, no matter how much effects you use, distortion, delay, etc, wah-wah, try and cover up the fact you're not synchronised. You know that you're not synchronised, and it doesn't sound that good. So really work on the synchronisation to the two hands till it's perfect, and then gradually accelerate it, and actually it will sound even quicker when you get it all synchronised, because you'll be able to hear all the notes well articulated. Alright, so that's exercise number 1, and let's move along to exercise number 2. Now exercise 2 is actually the same exercise as the previous one, except we're going to start with an upstroke instead of a downstroke. Okay, so it's going to sound like this one. Now when you try and play this, you'll notice it's considerably more tricky, because number one, it feels odd to start with an upstroke, at least it does to most people, and then also the cross that you're going to get as you move up from the D string to the G string is one of these inside crosses, and that's a lot trickier. So the picking, up, down on the G, and then back up on the D. So the problem with this inside cross thing is that the plectrum feels like it's stuck or trapped in between the two strings, and it's also moving in the wrong direction. So as you hit the G string with a downstroke, your plectrum is going towards the floor, and then you have to bring the plectrum down and back up over the G string to hit the D string with an upstroke, and then it's going in the wrong direction. It's going upwards towards the ceiling, and you have to bring that back down over the D string to hit the G string again. So it's all very problematic inside cross, and this is usually the motion that most pickers have a problem with and they're not so good at and try to avoid. So that is exercise number 2. Once again, we'll demonstrate with the drum machine, a little bit slower this time. I'm not sure I can manage 120 beats a minute with an inside cross, a little bit slower, and yeah, we'll see how we get on. Alright, let's go for that. I think you can clearly hear that the articulation is not quite as good with this inside cross. It sounds definitely a bit stickier, and I'm clearly not as good at it as I am the outside cross. So it's a motion that you need to work on probably more than the outside to develop the inside cross more. Alright, so let's move along now to the next exercise, which combines inside and outside crossing. Let's look at that one. Okay, now the last 2 licks had even numbers of notes in them, had 6 notes in them. So the cross was always going to be the same. So if we started with a downstroke, we were always going to be getting an outside cross. And if we started with an upstroke, we were always going to be getting an inside cross. It would be good if we could have a lick that let us practice both sorts of cross. And there's a very easy way to do that, and that is just to come up with a lick with an odd number of notes in it. So 5 is the most obvious number to try. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this little lick. It's a little blues scale lick, which is a great sounding lick, but also a great alternate picking exercise. Alright, so let's have a listen. And these are the notes. We've got G, let's see now, that's G8, 7, 5, and then D, 7, 5. And that's all it is, 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now picking, first time you play it, if you start with a downstroke, it'll be down, up, down, up, down. So the first time you play it, you will encounter an inside cross. But on the repeat, because we've just done a downstroke, we're going to have to start the lick with an upstroke. Which means on the repeat we'll be encountering the outside cross. So the first time through it's an inside cross, and the second time through it's going to be an outside cross. Which is a great little thing for the right hand to get used to, because it means you can get to practice both sorts of crossing. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate this lick in context for you, just so you can hear how it sounds. And it's let's say it's a great sounding lick when you get it going, and great chop builder technique picking development exercise. So let's have a listen to it in context. can see that it's really effective and works very well. So let's crack on to the next one, which is really just the reverse of the previous one. So instead of having 3 notes then 2, we're going to have 2 notes then 3. So let's look at that one. And here's the next lick. So now we've got 2 notes on the G and 3 notes on the D. So let me go ahead and give that to you. We've got G, 9, 7, and then D, 10, 9, 7. So again, just 5 notes going down. And again, every time we play it, we're going to encounter a different string cross. So the first time, down, up, down. So that's going to be an outside cross the first time through. And then on the repeat, it's going to be the inside cross. Now this one, for whatever reason, feels a little bit more awkward to play. Maybe it's just because I don't practice this one as much as the other one, but I don't know what the reason is, but it certainly feels more awkward only having 2 notes initially than having to move to 3. And it's maybe just because the cross picking seems to come up quicker every time you play a lick, or maybe it's just lack of practice, who knows. But yeah, it certainly feels harder to play, and I think you'll agree when you try it will feel harder than the previous lick. So let's go ahead and demo it with our backing track again, just to give it some musical context, and let's have a listen. Okay, so that deals with the 5-note ones. We're going to move on, do 2 more exercises, and these deal with just little 3-note licks. Let's do those. Okay, on to the 3-note licks now. These are very simple and cliched sounding little licks, but they do make for great little ideas, and they are superb cross-picking exercises. So here's the first one. It's this lick. Which you know, I'm sure you've heard lots of times before. So 3, 4. It's in a ton of things. So this time we've only got 1 note on the G and then 2 notes on the B, right? So what we've got is G, 7, B, 5, B, 8, and that's all it is. Just 3 notes. But if we think about the picking, we start with down, it'll be down, up, down. So the first time is going to be an outside string cross. And then on the repeat, we'll have to start with up. So it'll be an inside cross. So we'll get this sort of motion of down, start with down and then an outside cross, and then start with up and it'll be an inside cross. The interesting fact is that the simpler you make these little picking exercises, the more they reveal picking problems, because this one being very short, you see guys trying to do it in all sorts of ways, you know, with 2 downs, or down up down, down up down, down up down, or up down up, or all sorts of crazy stuff, and you just need to really get the you know, the alternation together properly. So we're just going to go ahead now and demo it again with our little track, and hopefully we'll be able to make it up to tempo. Alright, so let's have a listen. Okay, and here is the very last one, which is again just the reverse of the previous exercise. So instead of having 1 note and 2, we're going to have 2 notes and 1. So it's going to be this one, which is exactly the same as the last lick. We've just moved one of the notes onto the G string. So this time we've got G7, G9, and then we've got B8. And that is it. And start with down, down, up, down. So first time through, that's going to be an inside cross, and then up, down, up, and that'll be an outside cross on the repeat. Alrighty, so without further ado, let's just demo with the backing track, and let's have a listen to how it sounds. concludes another episode of Rock Guitar Fundamentals. Just 6 little ideas in this episode, but I guarantee that if you practice these 6 short riffs, they will eliminate most of your alternate picking problems and squash any of those pesky alternate picking bugbears that you may have. So they're definitely worth pursuing. I recommend you practice with a drum machine or metronome. Get the licks as fast as you can, but make sure that the synchronization is good and that of course you are alternate picking properly, which is the whole point. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll check you next time on the next episode. Before I go, apart from looking at the website and subscribing and getting access to all that cool free stuff, you can follow me in other ways. You can follow me on Twitter at RowanJParker. I'm on SoundCloud, Rowan-Parker. There's a lot of free stuff on SoundCloud, backing tracks and so on that you can download, and there's a song on iTunes as well you can listen to if you like. What else have we got? Yeah, we've got a Facebook page, RowanJParker, and I'm also of course on YouTube, which you're watching. YouTube channel is RowanJParker, just in case you've just landed on this video by accident. There's a whole ton of stuff up there. Alright, well, thanks so much for watching, and I'll check you out next time for another episode of Rock Guitar Fundamentals, making you a better guitar player. Till then, farewell!